Hello, Lions fans, and welcome back to our next Lions Lowdown segment as we preview the 2014-15 Molloy College men's basketball season with head coach Charlie Marquardt. Charlie, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Good to be here, Chad.
Coach, let's begin as we always do with last year. Your team finished 17-13 overall and 13-7 in the East Coast Conference. Your team reached the semifinal round of the ECC tournament after defeating Queens College in the play-in round before falling to Bridgeport. How can your team build off of that success for this upcoming season?
I feel last year can help us heading into this year, and we are building a mindset, for our program over the last couple of years of how we have to play in order to be successful, in this conference, and it takes a lot. So I believe the returners have seen some success, and we'll embed that onto our younger guys. And I think more emotionally and mentally, more than anything else, is how it's impacted to this year.
All right, and Charlie, I think one thing that jumps out immediately when someone looks at your roster this year is who you lost to graduation. Your 7-foot center, Tyler Hammett, who's right now playing professionally overseas in Germany, as well as the program's all-time scoring leader in John Petroselli. Coach, how is your team this year going to look to replace these two players?
I'm not sure if we're going to replace them. It's going to be more we're going to play differently. I think our job as a coaching staff is to look at the strengths that we have and ensure that we work towards them and use them to our fullest potential. So I think we're different. I think we're going to be relying on more players rather than just a few. And I believe that it's an opportunity for some of the guys that maybe didn't have as big a role last year to have a larger impact this year. So I think the guys are excited about that opportunity.
Can you talk about the newcomers this year that the fans might not have seen? You mentioned the bunch of the returners that fans have seen over the last couple years, can see their stats on our website. But what about the newcomers for this year? Sophomore Jason Natlin, as well as freshmen Adrian Denner and Shundi Kashmir.
Sophomore Jason Natlin, he's been a hard worker in practice for sure. He's a point guard by position, and he tried out last year, and unfortunately he didn't make it, and he came back this year. So I'm proud to say he wanted to be part of our program and tried out again, and he did make it this year. So I'm excited for him to give us some depth at that point guard spot, along with Brandon and Maurice. As far as the true freshmen are concerned, Adrian Denner is from Cary High School, and he's an athletic swing player, plays the three for the most part, attacks the rim pretty well, really willing to learn, pretty athletic, has a nice soft touch. I believe he'll really gain value from learning from Matt McLeod and Kevin Bowles and Miles, some of the guys that have been around a couple of years, besides going at Jalen and Charlie as well in practice. So, and Mo, obviously Mo Gatson in there as well. So, I think for him it's going to be a year where he's going to continue getting better. Shundi Kashmir is someone who's going to play the center spot. He's 6'8", 6'9", and he's going to be matched up against Rich Zoller and Chuck Sobunse. And in the same vein as Adrian, as a true freshman, he's going to learn from those guys, and I think within practice he'll become better and better. And Shunde is someone who likes to run the floor pretty well, and what I would say about all three of them, and he's shown a pretty good touch. What I've seen about all three of them is that they're all willing to learn, and they all have good attitudes. So I feel good about the new group, and they played pretty well in our last scrimmage.
All right, Coach, and after going over a quick overview of your roster, I know it's kind of a broad question, but what are your expectations for this year? You could speak about any individual expectations or just as for the team as a whole.
Our expectations this year are just like any year, and our hope, as far as our hopes, and that is to win a regional. That's what we set our mind to, and it's no different, because if it was any different, then I'd be cheating our players and our program and our administration and fans. So that's the hope. I think what's going to be key for us this year is progressive growth through the year. within practice, because we have guys that have grown into or are going to grow into bigger roles. So that means they really have to work on getting better within a season and prepare a little bit differently and just keep pushing forward. So that's our expectation. We're excited about, opening up this weekend, and I think it's a great opportunity for our program to push forward and state that it's not just about the last couple of years. It's about over time how we play.
All right, Coach, last question for you before I let you go today. Which teams are you looking out for this year in that very competitive East Coast Conference?
Well, there's not a team that I don't respect in this league. Obviously, you got to start with the team that won it last year, Bridgeport. I think, obviously, meaning Bridgeport because they were eligible to win it. Damon obviously won our conference tournament. And then you have, Post, you had Stack, who made a great run. You can make really validation for each one of these teams. All the teams that got in the playoffs, I thought Queens was excellent too. So I think that rounds out the top 6, including ourselves. But, I look at the other 5 teams, again, with Damon not in it, but I look at the other teams that are eligible, and I know everyone's gotten better. I think some teams have brought in new staffs, so obviously something to be concerned about. Other teams have regained some health. Other teams have improved with recruiting. So I'll have a better idea after one time through the league, as well as everyone else. But right now, everyone's on watch from my eyes as far as being concerned.
All right, there you have it, Lions fans. That was Charlie Marquardt, head men's basketball coach at Molloy College. Best of luck this year, Coach.
Thanks a lot, John.
All right, Lions fans, we continue our men's basketball season preview video with senior guard Matt McLeod. Matt, thanks for joining me today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Matt, please take us inside the preseason you guys are having. What is your team up to in the weeks leading up to the start of the season?
First thing first, our preseason is going pretty well. It's been going great. We have a great group of guys here, and we've just been really preaching defense. Our defense last year was great, 2 years ago was great, and we're just trying to get better each year. So I know, lost a lot of keys, but if we bring it together, we can have a great team, great year.
And Matt, you were certainly one of the key offensive players for this team last year. What do you expect of yourself this season going into your senior campaign?
Like I said, just to get better. I don't want to, take a step back. Each year, I've been, slowly progressing and getting to where I want to be. And, I know with me and a whole bunch of other teammates that are going to help me out, we're going to have a great year. So if I work on, knocking down a shot when I get an opportunity, that's what I'm going to do.
All right, thanks, Matt, for taking some time out today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, Lions fans, we are now joined by senior center Richard Zoller as we continue our men's basketball season preview. Rich, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Rich, going into your senior year here at Molloy, what do you expect of you and your teammates this season?
Well, for this season, I think it's all about avenging what we did last season. I mean, we had a great year last year. We ended up losing to Bridgeport at the end, but most of us were there. I mean, we only added 2 freshmen this year, 1 walk-on, but for the majority of the team, all of us were there. We all know how that feels, and now it's all about coming back and using that fire that we had at the end of last year, that anger, all that built up energy, and just kind of, focusing in the right direction. I mean, I feel like through preseason and the beginning of the actual season, we've been doing that. We've been using our workouts, our work ethic, and we've been staying after each day, knowing that we don't want to end up at that point. We want to get to that point and then go beyond. So for this year, I feel like our main goal is to just totally blow away all the expectations that are there for us.
All right, Rich, and being a captain this year and one of the veterans on the squad, what have you been telling the younger guys, especially during preseason, as you guys gear up for the 5-month grind when the real games begin?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, the 5 months that we're going through this, it's because it's all about pacing. I mean, you don't want to burn out, but you want to prepare yourself in the right way. You definitely want to come out strong, but you don't want to kind of get bored. You want to make things fresh every day, and I feel like Coach does that for us with practice, making sure that each day is a productive day, and keeping our body guessing to what's coming next. I feel like just with like the guys who were returning last year, they've been through it already once or twice. But the new guys especially, it's all new to them. I mean, high school is completely different from college, and I feel like the best advice that I could give them right now is just to keep pushing yourself, but keep in mind that this is 5 months. Like last night we were in the weight room, and we were busting it out, just doing our thing, and then you could see like the progression we made from now until and the beginning of the season, and it's this awesome progression. We're going so far in the sense that, like, I think we're really good now, but we still have 5 months, so it's really exciting to where we could be and where we're going to get eventually.
All right, last question before I let you go, Rich. In the last 2 years, as you mentioned before, your team has reached the second round of the ECC postseason tournament, but lost both times. For this season, what does your team need to do to take that next step in the very competitive East Coast Conference?
Well, I think that's the thing. The last 2 years, we kind of had a similar attack. I mean, we had John Petroselli, who was like a scoring dynamite, and then we had Tyler Hammond, who now playing Pro Bowl overseas in Germany. I mean, those were two offensive threats that just really were like the focus. I think this year we have a more balanced scoring attack, and that's going to make us so lethal, because coming into the game, you won't be sure who to guard. You can't really double somebody, because that leaves someone else who can easily score wide open. I feel like this year it's just going to be such a different game. I'm really excited for the fans to see it. I think they're going to love it. It's very fast paced. The one scrimmage we've had so far, there's a lot of alley-oops, a lot of energy. It's a really cool field because nothing's set in stone. Like, we'll come down the court, and we won't run a play. We'll run 5 out and then just have everything like meshed in between, and we just go based off what we feel for each other. I mean, off the court, I feel like that's been helping us because we've been hanging out a lot more, and we have that chemistry now. So now we have a feel for where each other is going to go, and I feel like coming into the game, they don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, but in the sense for us, I feel like that's the best part, because we know what we're capable of, and we're just going to attack them at any chance we have.
All right, that was Rich Zoller, senior center on the Molloy men's basketball team. Thanks again for sitting down with us, Rich.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And as you were saying, the season's right around the corner. Fans won't have to wait that long to see what you guys have been working on as the Lions men's basketball team starts its 2014-15 campaign on Saturday, November 15th, when the Lions play at the St. Thomas Aquinas Classic versus Pace University beginning at 6 p.m. Remember, fans, you can find all your men's basketball news, notes, recaps, stats, and analysis, as well as links to live stats and live audio-video broadcasts, always on MolloyLions.com.